The call came at 11:47 on a Tuesday. I know because I looked at the clock on my computer screen when my phone buzzed. My sister's name. I stepped into the hallway. "He's gone," she said. "About an hour ago." I leaned against the wall. The paint was that gray-green color they use in office buildings everywhere. I stared at it. "Did you hear me?" "Yeah," I said. "I heard. I tried calling sooner. You didn't pick up. I was in a meeting." She was quiet. "Then the funeral is Thursday. I'll text you the details." "Okay." She hung up. I stood there for another minute, maybe two. Then I went back to my desk and finished the spreadsheet I'd been working on. It was for a client merger. Lots of moving parts, deadlines. I didn't cry. I'm not sure why. It just didn't happen. The next morning, I knocked on my supervisor's door. She was already at her desk, reading something on her phone, coffee mug in hand. She didn't look up when I came in. "I need Thursday off," I said. "Thursday." She scrolled through something on her screen. "We have the Morrison deliverable Thursday." "I know. I can work late Wednesday, get it done early." She looked at me then, not unkindly, just assessing. I said, "An emergency." I could have told her. The words were right there. "My father died yesterday. I need to bury him." But something stopped me, something I still don't fully understand. "No," I said. "It's personal." She held my gaze for a moment. Then she shook her head. "I need you here. Thursday's non-negotiable." I nodded, walked out, closed the door behind me. My aunt called that night. I hadn't spoken to her in maybe 3 years. She was my father's sister. They'd had some falling out before he got sick. I never knew the details. "Your sister tells me you're not coming Thursday," she said. No hello. No how are you holding up? Just that. I didn't say I wasn't coming. "You asked for the day off work." They said no. A pause. I could hear her breathing. "The family thinks it's better this way. Your presence would complicate things. There are legal matters, you understand." I understood. She meant the estate. She meant the house, the small investments, the things my father had accumulated over 63 years. She meant she and her lawyers had already drawn lines, and I was on the wrong side of them. "Okay," I said. "Okay." I said okay. She waited like she expected me to argue. When I didn't, her voice turned colder. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I hung up, not dramatically. Just pressed the button and put the phone on the table and sat there in my apartment with the lights off. 2. When I was 15, my father showed me something. A folder in a lockbox under his bed. He made me promise never to tell anyone about it. "If they ever try to cut you out," he said, "this is yours." "Not theirs." "Never theirs?" I didn't know what he meant then. I was 15. I thought he meant if someone tried to steal my bike or something. He didn't explain further. He just made me promise, and I did, and I forgot about it for almost 20 years. After the call with my aunt, I drove to his house. It was empty now. He'd been in hospice for 3 weeks. I had a key. I let myself in. The lockbox was still there. Under his bed, same as always. I opened it. Inside, some old photographs, a watch my grandfather gave him, and a folder with my name on it. I sat on the edge of his bed and read it. Took me about an hour. When I finished, I understood. He'd set it up years ago, before the cancer, before any of this, an asset worth just under $4 million, structured in a way that made it mine alone, separate from the rest of the estate, separate from everything my aunt and her lawyers were now fighting over. He'd known. Somehow he'd known what would happen after he was gone. I didn't act right away. I went home. I went to work. I finished the Morrison deliverable on Wednesday. I sat in my cubicle and typed and moved numbers around, and no one looked at me any differently than they ever had. Thursday came, the day of the funeral. I went to work. I sat in a meeting. I ate lunch at my desk that night. I made 2 phone calls. The first was to a lawyer my father had listed in the folder, a woman named Margaret Chen. I'd never met her. She answered on the second ring. "I've been expecting your call," she said. "I'm sorry about your father." The second call was to a financial advisor, also in the folder, also expecting me. They handled the rest. I just signed things. Within 72 hours, the asset was gone from where my aunt and her legal team thought it was. Moved, transferred, restructured. A place they could never reach, never touch, never fight over in any court. She called me a week later, my aunt. Her voice was different now, shaky, less sure. "There's been a complication," she said, "with the estate. Something doesn't add up. Do you know anything about it?" I was at work. Sitting at my desk, the same gray-green walls. "I'm at work," I said. "I can't talk. This is serious. There's money missing. A lot of money. If you know something..." "I don't know anything. You're lying." I can hear it. I looked at my computer screen. The spreadsheet I'd been working on. Numbers, columns, all those small decisions adding up to something. "I have to go," I said. "Deadlines." I hung up. She called again that night. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. I didn't listen to it. She called the next day, and the day after that. I let them all go to voicemail. Eventually, she stopped. I went to his grave 3 weeks later. Just me, alone on a Sunday morning when the grass was still wet. I stood there for a long time. I didn't say anything. I don't know what I would have said. I thought about telling him what I did. About the money. About my aunt's voice on the phone. About how I felt nothing when I moved it, and nothing when she called, and nothing now standing over him. I thought he might understand. Or he might not. I'll never know. On the way back to my car, I passed another grave. Fresh flowers. A woman sitting on a folding chair, talking to the headstone like it could hear her. Like it could answer. I got in my car and drove home. Monday morning, I went back to work. Same desk, same walls, same spreadsheets. My supervisor stopped by my cubicle around 10. Good job on the Morrison thing, she said. Client loved it. Thanks, I said. She lingered for a second, like she might say something else. Then she nodded and walked away. I turned back to my screen. The numbers were waiting. I kept typing.